Today I want to talk to you about being a buyer's agent. The first step is to get your buyer pre-qualified because you definitely don't want to be wasting your time with a buyer who's just a looky-loo and loves to be chauffeured around and look at properties till kingdom come. Not at $4.25 a gallon for sure. And you want to make sure that your buyer is really serious, and if they are, they will take the time to sit down with a loan officer and get pre-qualified to find out exactly what price range they can look at, and also to find out just exactly how much it's going to cost them at the end of the day. If your client is really serious, they will take the time to do this. But also it's going to help you because when you write your offer, you're going to have a pre-qual letter or a pre-approval letter, which is going to make your offer much stronger than someone that hasn't taken the time to do this. In fact, today, most listing agents require 3 things to be submitted along with the offer. One is the pre-qual or pre-approval letter, another is proof of funds, and also a copy of your buyer's deposit check. This demonstrates to the listing agent that your client has all their ducks in a row and can close the deal, because that's what's important to everyone, is that this deal can be closed. When you found the right property, you should be capable of looking at the comps so you can determine a reasonable price to offer. No buyer wants to pay more than what the property is worth, and getting a loan is also contingent upon the appraisal. So you don't want to overpay because the property may not appraise, and then your buyer would either have to come up with the difference, the seller would have to lower his price, or they're just going to have to cancel the offer. On the other hand, you don't want to write such a low ball offer that you insult the seller and he refuses to even look at your offer or even consider a countering. If your buyer is one of those bottom fishers who continually makes ridiculously low ball offers, you just might want to drop that client. There are clients that just love to see how low they can get the seller to go. It's like a game to them. They want to see how much they can get the seller to give up. And then ultimately they just walk away and they want to start the whole process all over again. This is time to push the guy out of your car. The next step is you've got the offer accepted. Now what do? The listing agent will open escrow and give you all the contact information for the escrow officer. So you will instruct your buyer to deliver his deposit check to escrow. Within a couple of days, you and your client will receive escrow instructions and the preliminary title report. Your client will be required to fill out all the few forms and sign and acknowledge that he's received the prelim and these various documents. Now the hard part for you begins. The countdown begins, that 17-day contingency period where you have to get everything done. And one of the most important things that you should get done right away is the physical inspection. The physical inspection is the deal killer almost every time, because this is when the buyer finds out what's actually wrong with the property. And believe me, they almost always find something that can kill the deal. And the fact of the matter is, the property, according to the purchase contract, is being sold in its present as is condition. So the reality is the seller does not have to fix anything. Even if it's a code violation, the seller does not have to fix it. So be careful what you're promising your client, that you can get certain things done when in fact you may not be able to get anything done. So the next thing that's going to happen is that the listing agent is going to provide all the disclosures to you. You should not be creating any disclosures. The law mandates that certain disclosures be provided on every transaction. The list of disclosures only varies slightly when it is a bank-owned property or a probate sale. In these cases, the seller did not live in the property, so they are exempt from disclosing certain aspects of the property because they may not know all the facts. The seller is obligated to provide a termite inspection. He's not obligated to make termite repairs. This is a negotiable item. REO and short sales, however, may refuse to provide any termite information at all. So that will leave it up to your client, the buyer, if they want to order and pay for this inspection. This item could definitely impact the buyer's ability to get his loan. For a list of all the disclosures that are required in various types of transactions, you can visit the DRE online and get a printout that will help you stay compliant. Now, during the 17-day contingency time frame, keep in mind that if the transaction is an REO or a short sale, that the time frame may be reduced. So be sure to read carefully any bank addendums that might change the standard terms and conditions in the purchase contract. As the buyer's agent, it is your job to keep everyone on track, including the loan officer. Make sure your buyer is cooperating with providing any paperwork that the lender needs to get a loan approval. Don't wait to the end of the transaction to discover that your buyer has been shopping his loan and has not even locked in a rate or completed a loan package. You are the orchestra leader. You need to make sure all parties in the transaction are cooperating to get the deal done. Your 17-day time frame begins the day after the purchase contract or any counters are signed by all parties, not 17 days after escrow opens. When you reach the 17th day, you, the buyer's agent, are required to remove contract contingencies by providing a form called Contingency Removal Form. This form is created by you, the buyer's agent, not the listing agent. You should check all boxes that apply. All items that you have completed and your client can sign, and then you can forward it to the listing agent. At this point in the transaction, there are only a couple of steps left. 1, you want to return to the property and make sure that all the repairs have been done that were agreed upon by the seller. And you also want to conduct a final walkthrough to make sure that nothing has happened to the property in the interim, that no new damage or new discoveries might show up, especially after the seller does remove all their personal items. You may find something that you didn't realize, like one transaction I was in when they removed a rug, the wood floor was completely damaged with pet stains. So this is something that had to be negotiated. At the last, about 3 days prior to the close of escrow, the buyer is going to be invited to the escrow office, and the escrow officer is going to have the loan documents there ready for the buyer to sign, which usually she takes the time to explain those documents a little bit. I mean, the loan officer should be there as well and really explaining all the detail, but that doesn't typically happen too often. They're going to instruct the buyer to bring in the rest of their down payment, or they may have already done it. If it was a large sum of money, they may have already wired those funds to escrow. And then the escrow officer, after they have notarized the various documents and explained the forms and had them all signed, they're going to repackage it and send it back to the underwriter, to the people that are providing the loan, for a final review and make sure that everything is accurate and in place. And as long as all the documents are executed properly and no new issues, title will be instructed to fund the loan and escrow will record the transaction. Then it's done, and then you get your check about 3 days later. So good luck on being a buyer's agent, and I hope this helped you a little bit to make your life a little easier in being a buyer's agent.